Good evening. Peace be with you on this Thursday evening, and welcome to this edition of Cocktails and Conversation. Good to see you. Good to have you be with us. I'm actually downstairs at one of the Trilogy bars here at the Retreat Center. And although you can't see it, we still have our tree up. You got that going for you. And I have my cocktail. So it's good to be with you. Good to see you. Peace be with you. For those of you who haven't been part of our community before, it's good to have you with us in the evening. This is something that we do every morning, Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we just talk a little bit about the conversations that are happening around us that are maybe inspired by questions or life experiences or something else that might be happening in our world, and we share them with you and kind of form a little bit of a community so that we can all go through this journey together. So peace be with you. Good to see you. Let me know in your comments, what is your drink of choice tonight that you're not starting necessarily the day with coffee and this conversation, but instead a cocktail. So to Sapphire and Soda, I say to you, cheers. Hey to Leo and Amy, and we got night owls in there, right? Libby, Angela, and man, Bill Preble coming in hard. He's checking in for both him and Millie. So good to see you. We got Angela. She's celebrating tonight with a nice glass of wine. Patty, hi dear. How are you? So good to see you. Thanks for hopping on tonight. As our topic tonight, if you haven't been with us before, and I'm welcoming you to this evening's conversation that usually happens in the morning, I want to talk a little bit about The World According to Mr. Rogers. It's a book that I got for Christmas this year, and I thought, what better way to wind down our day, not with news that is going to excite us or some view that we're going to maybe disagree with, but instead a little bit of Mr. Rogers that takes us back to our childhood, or maybe even helps us settle in tonight hearing it for the first time. Patty's joining us with red wine. Preble's coming in with the red wine. So we have, red wines are winning right now. And trust me, the more you drink, the better the show gets. So, but Millie's having water. I know today's a fasting day, unless time is over. But one of the things that we did today, I had a really weird day today. It was like anything that didn't want to cooperate technology-wise did not. Our adoptee, Penny, who's with us, was spay on Tuesday. So we get to deal with all that goes along with having a 1.5-year-old dog who really doesn't want to stay still to heal. And so it's been a day. So this is a great day for a cocktail and a conversation. Lisa says that she also had red wine with dinner, but just water. Just water now. Happy to be here. So we are grateful to have you, and want to welcome all of you as you just get logged on here over the next few minutes as you grab a cocktail, and we have a little bit of conversation. So if you just joined us, let us know what your beverage is tonight, what you're drinking. And then we're going to do tonight, we're going to do a little bit more interactive. Every once in a while, I like to grab a book, and based on topics that are in the book, I kind of let you decide what we're going to talk about. So if I was a comedian, it would kind of be like improv night at on stage, but instead it's just me having a conversation with you, except I have no idea what the topic's going to be. So in a way, we are faith-based speed dating or inspirationally sound together, however you want to look at it. But yeah, so good to see you. So glad that you're here, and welcome to Cocktails and Conversation on Thursday, January 27th. Bill, how much wine have you had, Bill? You're not allowed to start before the actual show gets. Bill said that we're just here to heckle. So heckle away. I can take it tonight, just like improv night for the comedians. So here's what I want you to do as we get ready to start tonight. I just want you to take in one big deep breath and exhale. Just let it out. Whatever it is that's going on in your life right now, whatever it is that you took home with you from work, whatever it is that you pulled in over the course of the day, let's just let it go for the next 20 minutes. Let's just find a way to settle into the message that we want to hear. And I invite you to have conversation with one another, respectful conversation that we can lift each other up. Because as much as I want to live all of this for you, as much as I want to be able to give you anything that I can relative to faith or inspiration, I can't live it for you. That's on you. But we can start these conversations together. So we say peace be with you as we get going. And so here's what I want to do tonight. I mentioned that I received this book, The World According to Mr. Rogers. This was a Christmas present and something that I've always wanted to share with my son. And so this year when somebody got it for me, I was kind of like, this is a great opportunity to not only share it with my family, but to share it with you. So that is what we're doing tonight. Libby said that it was weird not to start my day with coffee and conversation. It felt a little off. Yeah, it was a little bit different. So let's get started with our evening. The topic is the world according to Mr. Rogers, but I want you to pick the topic. So we're going to go, you can pick any number between 10 and let's say 195. So anywhere between 10 and 195. And you pick that number and I'm going to read specifically from that book. And then we're just going to have a little bit of topic and some inspiration from Mr. Rogers this evening as we enjoy some cocktail time together and some downtime. So Preble comes in at 13. Team Preble comes in with page 13. So we're right at the beginning. This entire section that you chose from is about the courage to be yourself. So now that you're integrating these numbers into my life, I also want you to give us your thoughts as you hear some of the world according to Mr. Rogers. Great one-line quote. Here it is. Discovering the truth about ourselves is a lifetime's work, but it's worth the effort. So number 13 is discovering the truth about ourselves is a lifetime's work, but it's worth the effort. Today in our podcast taping, we were talking about what it means to take the next step. And I think that quite often we're afraid because we kind of put labels on ourselves and we're not quite sure where the next step is going to lead us. And so we end up staying exactly where we're at because we want everything instantly. We expect it to happen right away. And I think that this quote, to discover the truth about ourselves is a lifetime's work, is that it's not going to happen overnight. We try to do right by everybody that we get to meet. And in the end, we are doing something special for one another. And we don't actually know what the outcome is going to be, but every day we take it one step at a time. And in the end, that's how we get to see how the cards that were dealt were played. And that at the end of the day, because we made the effort to play the game of life, we end up discovering a lot about ourselves that we never thought we could in the process. I know that some of you watching tonight have overcome some amazing things because personally, I've talked with you or heard your stories. And so you wouldn't be able to get through it if you just focused on that moment, but you stayed centered on yourself and continued to push through. Let's go to our next one. Number 65. This is like bingo. What do we have for 65? All right. I don't even know what these say. So I'm sure it's all clean. It's Mr. Rogers, right? All right. Page 65. There are many kinds of competition, to be sure, but I think that love does have something to do with them all. In fact, I believe that if we ever wanted someone's love, then we've known what competition really means. Competition is a word that makes many of us edgy. It's a situation that we probably have been living with since we were very small. For some people, competition is a thrill, a stimulation, a challenge. And for others, it's a source of sadness and anger, apprehension. And for others, it's a mixture of all those things. It's not possible to go, it's not possible to go through life without competing. As one woman told me, competition is part of our everyday life, whether we're competing for a job on the soccer field or for love. That's an interesting thought that we don't often look at the competition. But I would ask you this question, and love for you to comment. What is it that you get up and fight for every day? It can't just be the car that you drive. It can't just be the job that you have, but there's something that makes you, even when you're tired, get out and do what you need to do. There's something that brings you joy, even when you're struggling to find God or peace in the midst. And so you fight for that, and you do everything that you can in order to get through. And so I would say that we do compete, whether we choose to acknowledge that or not. And if we're not competing, then we've given up. We've stopped fighting for what we love because we've settled. So while competition might be a word that not many of us think of when it comes to life, it is something that we have to experience every day. So that word competition, whether it's a negative or a positive, we have to continue to move forward and know that what we're working towards is our goal, regardless of the instantaneous result. This there's a show on Netflix. Sorry, I'm scrolling back up. We got some good comments. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anybody's page, but there's a show on Netflix that, I love mindless television if you're a regular watcher of Coffee and Conversation. And my latest mindless television was the show Cheer on Netflix, which is about a competitive cheerleading team down in Texas. Natalie and I, during the pandemic, watched season 1 together. So when they came out with a season 2, this weird 47-year-old guy sat in front of the TV and watched all 9 episodes of Cheer to see how the competition of cheering went. And what they really focus on is the drama, the fight. And they have this 2-minute and 15-second routine that they get to do. And they train all year for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And I think about what commitment that really takes. Take out all the craziness and all the silliness. But are we willing to fight for maybe just a short moment of making somebody's day? Are we willing to fight for that moment of feeling joy or like I said, feeling peace? Even though it might only last for a shorter amount of time, we still fight for it. So competition is all around us in whatever way we choose. If you're just joining us on Cocktails and Conversation, it's a special evening edition. Normally we're here for coffee at 7:30 in the morning on Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. But tonight we're talking about the world of Mr. Rogers and relaxing with a cocktail of your choice. So let us know what your cocktail is, and let us know your thoughts on the word competition, negative or positive. All right, so I'm looking at my screen. I got page 38. No, Bill Preble, that was not all on one page. It was actually on 2 pages, but in order to get the complete thought, I had to read both pages. All right, let's see what Mr. Rogers says on page 38. It says, I believe it's a fact of life that what we have is less important than what we make out of what we have. The same holds true for families. It's not how many people there are in the family that counts, but rather the feelings among the people who are there. Family is sometimes, I think, more of a hot topic than competition might be. And we had a meeting not too long ago with some collaborators in the ministry. And one of the things that was brought up was how lonely ministry can be. And you feel like you're taking in a lot, or you're dealing with a lot of issues, because that's really when people reach out to you. And so that can be a hard thing to take in. And one of the people around the table reminded those of us that were there that, you're never alone, because you have all these people that believe in you. And why I bring that up is that even if you don't have direct family with you, that there are people around you that care about you and are willing to be there for you like family. So, what we have is not as important as what we do with what we have, how we value it, how we base those relationships in blood that know will never fail us when we need them the most. So, family is something that we all can be grateful for, whether it's a blood relative or whether it's friends that have become family over time and have been there to have our back. So, I love that simple thought that it's not what we have, but what we do with what we have. Let's go over to page 153. Again, we're reading The World According to Mr. Rogers. I'm going to be with you for about another 10 minutes, just winding down our day, getting some good stuff in, soaking in a little bit of Mr. Rogers. This is a quote from Jane Addams. And she says this. She says, people did not want to hear about simple things. They wanted to hear about great things simply told. Let me say that again. People did not want to hear about simple things. They wanted to hear about great things simply told. I think that this is a great quote here. I think all of it's actually great in one way, shape, or form. But, people don't want to be talked down to. They don't want things watered down, but rather they would like to know, how do we do great things, but how do you put it into a language that I understand? If we're trying to live out faith, this can be a big problem for many people, that they feel like the church talks over their head or that they don't put it into terms that really connect with me. And so what do we have to do when we share faith with people that we care about, or share faith with people that we know? We have to break it down in a way that makes them understand it. It's not that they don't want to be challenged. It's not that they don't want to excel. And it's not that we shouldn't decide whether they're ready or not to hear the greatness that we want to put upon them, whether it's general inspiration or faith-based teaching. The fact of the matter is that they want to be raised to a different level, but they want to have it told to them in a language that they can understand. So when Jane Addams says that people did not want to hear about simple things, but they wanted to hear about great things simply told. Think about that in your daily work life. Think about that in whatever it is that you're passionate about. It's not that people don't want to hear about it. They just need to hear about it in a way that they can understand it. And I think that's a great reminder. So let's see some of the comments. Grateful for family, like the family of faith that we have. Millie says that Libby and Amy and I are family. Yes, you are our family too, Millie. Jesus was a master at telling things simply. Yes, it really is a good reminder that Jesus indeed was very good at telling stories in a way that connected with people and putting it in a manner that they could understand. So why do we make it so hard in 2022? Why do we tend to want to show people how smart we are, or how much we've learned, or how long it took us to get to where we are by the level of academia that we went into? Let people see your love by the ability for you to share it with them, not in the way that you just know about it, but in the way that they need to hear it. All right. This is from page 88. This is for Patty Tyberski. The last one was from Matthew Robuskevich. Page 88, and we're talking about understanding love. That's the section that this comes from. The World According to Mr. Rogers, in a World of Understanding Love. It says, in the external scheme of things, shining moments are as brief as the twinkling of an eye. Yet such twinklings are what eternity is made of. Moments when we human beings can say, I love you. I'm proud of you. I forgive you. I'm grateful for you. That's what eternity is made of. Invisible, imperishable, good stuff. Now, I'm going to read this again, and I want you to kind of like light up the comments on this. Like you're a cocktail in by now, right? So let's hear your thoughts. Maybe you're just at a place. Just take a moment, whether it's a thumbs up, whether you want to hit the like button, or you want to give us a heart, or whether you just want to give a thought on this. That think about these shining moments that are as brief as twinkling of an eye. Yet such twinklings are what eternity is made of. Moments when human beings can say, I love you. I'm proud of you. I forgive you. I'm grateful for you. That's what eternity is made of. Invisible, imperishable good stuff. I love you too, Patty. Um, to make up these moments, I think about how much stuff we take pictures of. I forget where I was the other day, and I was looking at something, and I was just thinking about like in the 1940s, people didn't have iPhones, and they were just taking in this momentous event. I forget what it was. It was just looking at something maybe in nature or whatever, but we so often live through the screen on our phone because if you're at a concert or you're at something fascinating, people have out their phones and they're not looking at the event. They're looking through the lens of their phone rather than just taking it all in so that you have a memory. And if Libby can remind me, she was at the presentation that I did recently where a young girl told us what she likes to do with those moments, and her wording was great. So maybe maybe Libby can fill me in on that. But and I'll look for it in the comments. But if we take these small moments to maybe if you're watching with someone right now, just look them in the eye and tell them that you love them, or maybe ask them how their day was. But have the conversation when we're done here. It's not that much longer. But this aspect of just paying attention to one another and being in the moment. For parents, have we told our children we're proud of them? Have we told people that we're grateful for them? And have you given someone that needs the gift to hear, I forgive you? Have you given them that gift and released them from the bondage that they hold on to when they know that you're still upset about something or haven't forgiven them? We need to let it go. Eternity is not made up of all these things that we try to hoard or hold on to, but it's made up of beautiful moments that God gives us in order to see the fullness of life. Yeah, the little girl said a mind snapshot. She said, I like to take like a mind snapshot, a picture of the moment. And she said that at the talk. She's probably like 9 or 10 years old. And she just said, I love that when I don't look at my phone, it's like I take a picture of in my mind so I can remember that moment. And maybe, Bill, you didn't have to do it out loud. You didn't have to forgive Millie out loud. But maybe it's these moments that we just need to take in more, that we need to stop depending so much on everyone else to bring us joy or to bring us happiness. So if you're just joining us, we got a little bit of time left here, Coffee and Conversation. I'm reading different pages from the book of The World According to Mr. Rogers. People are throwing out numbers. Let's give some people, let's see, who haven't I gotten here? Angela Wade, she says page 100. So we'll give her page 100, and then we're going to go to page 21 for my godfather who's watching tonight. The Godfather. All right. We'll do 21 first because that's where I turned. So this is for you, Leo. Let's see what we got. Whatever we choose to imagine can be as private as we want it to be. Nobody knows what you're thinking or feeling unless you share it. So we're talking about in this section, Mr. Rogers is talking about the courage to be yourself. It says, whatever we choose to imagine can be as private as we want it to be. Nobody knows what you're thinking unless you share it. Boy, isn't this true in 2022 when social media is so prevalent and we feel that we have to live our lives out in public. And then people comment on them and they say things that either upset us or reaffirm us, or maybe somebody else got more likes. And then we're upset that Why did they like their stuff more than my stuff? But the fact of the matter is that we don't have to share anything that we don't want. We give people the power to come into our lives. And so if there's something special to you, maybe you want to have it be public. Maybe you don't. Have we gotten to a point where maybe we've stopped living private lives so much that our internal ability to just ponder what's meant for us is kept special and it doesn't have to be shared with the world? I often feel that way in faith. Like when I have a special moment of something that God shares with me, I automatically feel like that's something I have to write for other people, or it's something that I have to share to inspire or encourage. And there are moments that God reminds me, like, no, that was just meant for you. Like, that's just between you and I. So we don't have to share the intimate details for other people to know everything about us. It's what we choose to share. And thanks to Mr. Rogers for pointing that out. Whatever we choose to imagine can be as private as we want it to be. And nobody knows what you're thinking or feeling unless you share it. All right, so now we're going to page 100. I think I got time for maybe like 2 more after this. All right. Page 100. Oh, I love this. This is a huge thing of mine. So one of the things that, Millie, I like that you love cheer. I just want to say that, Millie. Thank you for joining me in that battle. One of the things that I love is to dream. And I think that we've gotten to a point in life that we've stopped dreaming. Many people have stopped thinking about their passions or have gotten so caught up in the midst of what the pandemic brought about. And we stopped really looking forward to what we can attain, what our goals can help us achieve. And this page on Mr. Rogers is about being disciplined to remember to imagine things and to dream. So here's to dreaming. Here's what Mr. Rogers says. What makes the difference between wishing and realizing our wishes? Lots of things, of course. But the main one, I think, is whether we link our wishes to our active work. It may take months or years, but it's far more likely to happen when we care so much that we'll work as hard as we can to make it happen. And when we're working toward the realization of our wishes, some of our greatest strengths come from the encouragement of people who care about us. I just got to smile because Millie and I, after we got done taping today, had this very conversation after our podcast. Don't sit back and really say, I wish I could do that. Or say, I really hate what I do and it robs me of joy. Why aren't we living the life that we really want to live? Why aren't we going after our dreams? Why aren't we fighting for our passions to make them part of our everyday work? People often say to me, how could you have left the business world for ministry? Like all they do is look at the financial aspect. For 13 years now, we as a ministry have gotten to travel to 26 different states, presented in over 115 different countries. 115 different cities. We've been to a couple different countries, and we've gotten to share so much that I never would have got to share unless we followed our passions and our call. As much as it's a dream or a wish, we change that by putting it into action. You might wish for something, but it'll never change unless you're willing to put yourself into it. And if that means taking a step back or being humbled or maybe not being in the spotlight, are you still willing to do it because it'll change the world around you? And it's a great reminder for all of us. Let's see, we have time for one more. We're going to go with Jess gave us number 47. So just scrolling up, number 47. Cheers to you. We have time for one more tonight. Just a reminder, Coffee and Conversation airs daily at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And tonight we are doing a little bit of a different format. For those of you that normally don't catch us in the evening, we're doing a cocktail and some conversation, a chance to relax, enjoy a beverage of our choice, and to simply sit and be still. Here's what we'll end on tonight. And this is from page 47 of the book, The World According to Mr. Rogers. All right, Bill, you can have your coffee at 6 a.m. You just got to join us in the car at 7:30. We won't make you comment then. All right, very simple quote. This is what we're going to end on tonight. Millie, you can do cocktails and conversation at 7:30 in the morning. You are completely allowed. I think it would be a great way to start the day. No judgment, no judgment. All right, last quote, page 47. Thank you to Jess for this. The child is in me still, and sometimes not so still. I'll say it again. This is a deep one. The child is in me still, and sometimes not so still. For those of us in our, maybe the back nine of life, we'll call it, as we're getting there, you kind of look in the mirror certain days, and I'm like, man, I'm 47. I'm going to be 50 in 3 years, and there's places that are sagging that didn't used to sag. There's eyes that look tired, and I'm like, but I don't feel any different than I did when I was like 25, like mentally. Maybe my body does, but but there's a kid in there. There's a kid inside all of us that wants to run on the fields, that wants to just swing and forget about the world, and wants to see the innocence in life, or not the prejudgment of people by their race, or what they choose to wear, or who they identify as in a moment. But how do we just be like a child that meets another child for the first time and just sees love, or just sees joy, a chance to have a playmate? The child in us is still in there. It's in every single one of you. It's just whether or not we allow that child to continue to experience God with a childlike faith, or whether we allow ourselves, like I said, to just be a little bit more trusting of people than being so suspicious of what everybody has, or maybe the motive behind what they're doing. But then he ends this with, and sometimes the child is not so still. Let the child act out. Don't keep that child locked away. Let that child do something that it really needs to do in order to be reminded of being young. Maybe you look at some old pictures and you remember what it was like when you went to that dance, or a friend that you had back in high school, or something that just makes you think about what it was like when you were a kid. Or maybe it's when you visit a certain place that you remember back to when you were 5 or 6 years old, and you want to go back there and you want to let that kid out, and you just want to be carefree. And so I think in those times, this child that is in us sometimes has to come out. Have we become so serious that we need to look reverent in the church all the time? Have we gotten so serious about our faith that we can't joke about the laughter that Jesus would have shared with his disciples? Have we gotten so serious to think that we're more important than everybody else? Kids don't think that way. And so maybe give me your final thoughts as we wind down. Just one final thought. What do you think we can do together in order to live like a child again? What is it that we can do tomorrow? What is it that we can do for ourselves in order to wake up and to just say, I'm going to live this life, this day to the fullest, and I'm going to let out that inner child. Maybe you want to run through the sprinkler. I remember somebody talking about, oh my gosh, I don't remember who it was, somebody in ministry talking about running out in the rain. And they just saw some kids playing in the rain, and it made them think back to when they were a child, and they just wanted to run in the rain. Maybe it's silly. Maybe you're going to go toilet paper somebody's house, but I'm not taking responsibility for that. No, don't email me with any complaints about that. But what was it that you did as a kid? Have a sleepover. One of the things that I love to do is we love pajama days. And pajama days remind me of being a kid. They remind me of what like a careless day of whether we're working in our pajamas or not, or just having breakfast and brunch, relaxing and sitting around. Just reminds me of the carefree days of being a child. So we do need to express that joy. Johnny says, gave away my wine collection. Don't do it. Don't do it. You need it for nights like this. Libby says, I loved riding my bike through the neighborhood with all my friends. Quit pushing the child down. Let the child come forth. And, Mr. Rogers reminds us of being a kid. There's a great documentary out there that I talked about. It's called, Street Gang. Street Gang is about the making of Sesame Street. And that reminded me of watching Sesame Street and then watching Mr. Rogers. And that just brings a smile to my face. And watching those children now, when I look back as an adult, those children were just so excited to be with these puppets that they could see the person working them under the table right next to them, but they still believed that they were real. And what do we need to believe that's real? What do we need to go back to and do in our lives in order to find childlike enjoyment and faith once again? So thank you all. Thank you all for joining us and being part of the conversation tonight. So many great comments. Sorry, I kind of lost track of some of them, but yeah, Shawnee, working with young people does keep your spirit young. You are great at that. Mr. Rogers Meets the Dalai Lama would be a good book, would be a really good potential one. Shovel some snow. And Bill, if you shovel my yard, I'll give you $3, just like when you were a kid. Maybe 2. I don't want to, it was a long time ago. All right, friends, let's end this episode together as we do all of our episodes with just a short prayer together. Please join us on Monday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time when we will be back with another coffee and conversation. Since we're in between Wednesday and Friday here, we'll see you back on Monday morning with coffee and conversation, and a chance that we invite you to join us every weekday morning at 7:30. Different hosts, different topics, and a different chance for you to connect. But let's end in prayer as we do always. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Lord, we just thank you for this time together. We thank you for pausing to remember the goodness and the wholeness in life, to not be blinded by the negativity that exists, but the spirit of Fred Rogers, the spirit of what he wanted to give to every child in the world, to let them know that they were loved by God, to let them know that they were never alone, that they were not an outsider, and that he made all of us feel special that watched him. And let's make tomorrow a better day because of what he gave us. And let's help one another get through whatever it is that we're dealing with, because that's what Mr. Rogers would want us to do. Lord, we thank you and we praise you for every good work and even our trials, that we will become the person you called us to be in them and have the strength to persevere always. We pray this in your Son's name as we say, amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Libby Peterson will be our host on Monday. This is true. If you want more faith-filled inspiration, you can go to the Faith and Real Life page. All of our podcasts are up there. We'll be back next Friday with a new podcast in our third year of the Faith and Real Life podcast. And also, if anybody's looking for something for Valentine's Day weekend, we have a couples retreat on that Saturday from 10 to 3 on the 12th of February. But then we also have specials here at the Trilogy Retreat property for a special evening edition on Friday or Saturday night that includes dinner and some special conversation in order for all of us to strengthen our relationships. So thanks for being with us. Please join us in the mornings. Thanks for being with you, Matthew, Millie, Patty, Lisa, all those of you that were here tonight and are normally with us in the morning. We thank you, and I'm blessed by your presence. So God bless you. God keep you. I'm going to send you out with our closing video and high-tech stuff here. So take care and be well. God bless.